Well, I probably realize that this is new to a lot of people. I just want to talk about a little bit more about hemp. The U.S. Department of Agriculture interprets industrial hemp as any part of the cannabis plant, whether growing or not, that contains THC concentration of more than 0.3%, 0.3. And in short, the cannabis plant exceeds zero point 0.3, anyone is classified as marijuana, and those that contain less than zero point 0.3 are classified as industrial hemp. But this very good definition is lost on policymakers, which continue to argue in the US and other places that the ban on hemp is necessary because of its psychoactive cousin. As such, lawmakers have utilized the presence of THC, even though it's minuscule, to define two general categories of the cannabis plant. And the language that's traditionally used in conversations about cannabis has been one of the biggest problems in accurately representing the agronomic truth about the plant. Cannabis use was on the rise in the US in the middle to late 19th century. An 1854 New York Times article listed hemp among other fashionable narcotics, including tobacco and opium. And by the late 1980s, hash parlors, smoking rooms, had become fashionable throughout the United States. The first president grew hemp, and hemp is used to make a variety of commercial and agricultural products, including rope, textiles, clothing, shoes, food, paper, bioplastics, insulation, and one of the most interesting ones to me, biofuel. In fact, it's a little bit confusing when they group 170 different species into one word. It's like I said before, when people come to me and they say, "Oh, is marijuana legal in California?" I'm like, "Oh, really? That's new to me." It's like saying that wood is legal in California, but the only wood that's allowed is the wood that you burn up in your chimneys. That's like it is. The most useful, the higher uses of the plant are illegal, but if you're just going to burn it up, okay. And historical data shows that past cultures of Asia, India, and Europe utilized cannabis. And it might have even been mentioned in the Bible. So I don't have a problem with using the words interchangeably, just as long as we're clear that it has many uses. And just like CBDs, they're another part of the plant that's been cross-pollinated, and they have very high anti-inflammatory properties, and they give them to children who suffer from epilepsy, but non-psychoactive. Okay, and according to many hemp industry insiders who draw upon research, it was people like John Rockefeller and these people that were also responsible for the communist revolution in Russia and withdrawing the licenses for the naturopathic colleges in the US. These were the ones that were also responsible for hemp prohibition. So it's really interesting because depends who you talk to. A lot of the times, these kind of more alternative views of medicine are viewed as a little weird. But look at who was responsible for financing and really making a monopoly on conventional allopathic medicine. The same people that were financing the Bolshevik Revolution. So look at the philosophies behind the conventional medicine. And that touches on subjects that's interesting to me, and it's naturopathic medicine and naturopathic modalities. And I've seen things over my life that I don't even mention anymore because I think it would be so hard for people to understand because it so goes against what they've been told. And I mentioned it to sick people who are looking for answers, and they're like, "No, that's not possible. There's no human medicine known to man that could do this." But there really are modalities like body talk, and there's other ones that can really dial into the body and elicit yes or no answers from the body. So if you go back to this idea that the body has its own unique intelligence, you can ask the body what it wants and what it needs and what it lacks, unencumbered by verbalization. And all that allopathic medicine does is it diagnoses based on the symptoms. So, and that's based on statistics. So this many number of people who had these symptoms, statistically, they were helped by this. But symptoms can be misleading. For example, you go into the doctor for a stomach disorder, you think you have anxiety because the digestive problem manifests as a mood. But only through these naturopathic modalities can you really get in and find out what the body needs. And we're working on putting together some interviews with doctors along these lines, but these things are long in the making.